This is the Wannabe Saints podcast, where we take virtues and try to break them down so they become tangible and applicable to your life.
We aren't here to bring you advice, we're here to bring you virtue. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Rachel.
We're your hosts, and this is Wannabe Saints. All right, guys. Welcome to Wannabe Saints again. Tonight's podcast is going to be on friendship.
But before we get into that, we obviously have to do our questions, but I have a little funny thing to share.
Oh, share it.
Because it's on friendship. Today I was on the phone with my sister, Becca. So shout out Becca. She's one of our top listeners, as well as my brother-in-law, Tim, that we shouted out before. And I said because, and she stopped me and she was like, so I noticed something about you. And I was like, what? And she's like, have you ever realized that you say because and not because? And I was like, no. I feel like I've always said it that way. She's like, I don't know if you have. I feel like that's something I would notice about you. And I was like, well, I don't know. She's like, maybe I noticed it because you have a podcast now. And I was like, I have no idea. But I say because, and it feels wrong to say because.
I agree.
And okay, she noticed you also do it.
That's funny.
And so she was like, have you actually always said because?
Or is it because we're friends?
Yeah. Exactly. And I was like, well, this is really convenient for our friendship episode for you to be saying this, that we're morphing into one, because I then also said, well, I say exactly, I with a T, so sorry if this irritates all of you if I ever say it now. If you're like, oh my gosh, you're so annoying because you say because and exactly. But you say it the same way that I do now.
Exactly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You say
I've been noticing it too.
Yeah, you say it with the T.
I hear myself say it. I was like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so Jordan used to not say that, but now she does. So we're slowly being morphed into one person. Mm-hmm. And the epitome of this, guys, you don't understand. The epitome of this, you know what I'm going to say? The epitome of this, okay? If you listen to our intro episode and whatever other episodes where we talk about how, like, you know, tomboy, okay, person.
Girly girl.
Yeah, she's a girly girl. She's into fashion and all that kind of stuff because she's a hairstylist. You got to look the part. Like, this is what she does. Well, guys, I've peaked in life. I can die happy because Jordan asked me for a link to my clothes this week. And it was the biggest deal. I actually ranted on the phone for probably the entire phone call because I was like, this is it. I've officially peaked. Jordan Anderson just asked me for a link to my clothes. That's it.
So funny.
Yep. So,
what are you working on?
That's a good question. I actually didn't really think about this yet.
I can go with mine.
Yeah, go.
All right. Well, just like intentionality with speaking, like the intentionality of what you say, which I guess that's something to always work on. But I'm thinking specifically with my son. I mean, he's still a baby, but the subconscious is formed so young. So it's kind of like when he does something not right, it's not just like in a joking manner being like, hi, you little idiot. You little idiot. I can't talk, you guys. If he does something somewhat wrong, because he's a child, he doesn't know that he's doing it wrong. He's trying. So I think the intentionality with that, because of how young that subconscious is formed, but then it's also just being mindful of what you say to like everyone, because you just never know what's going to hit a hard spot. And this is just a silly story from even when I was young. My mom probably didn't even know that she said this, but it was when I was acting out when I was homeschooling, and I took forever to get stuff done. I could not focus for the life of me. And I remember her just looking at me like, oh, what am I going to do with you? And I was like, what do you mean? What are you going to do with me? Are you going to put me up for adoption or like get rid of me? For some reason in my head, I actually was scared of what are you going to do with me? And so it's like, it was something that just slipped off of her tongue. Probably didn't even realize it. But like at the time I was like, what do you mean? And I don't know. I was probably in like second or third grade at the time.
You're not like really rational yet to know.
Right.
necessarily when there's a joke or not.
Right, exactly. So I don't know. I feel like just that intentionality, just being mindful of that, starting at a young age with what I say to my son.
That's good.
And then just to anybody around me too.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Okay, the thing that I'm working on is preparedness, which I've been doing pretty good at, which is mainly because of the fact that we leave for Ireland on Sunday.
Whoop, whoop.
But at school, I'm ahead of the game on a ton of stuff right now. Normally, I'm living like week by week, sometimes day by day. And when I get back, I don't even have to think about, for a couple different things that I'm in charge of, I don't have to think about it till literally January. But I also did that because I have a retreat to plan for December for the whole school. So when I get back, that'll be my main focus. But getting myself ahead on that stuff and being prepared for all of that allows me to be able to just give all of my time to the retreat. So trying to figure out how to get ahead, which I did, only because of Ireland. So hopefully I can keep that up.
Yeah.
But
Good job.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, all right, friendship. So friendship means, according to Aristotle, the good. According to St. Thomas Aquinas, he said that friendship is interchangeable with the word love. And so love, as obviously, we talked about this with charity.
Mm-hmm.
So love and charity are also the same. So friendship, love, and charity all connect, which is really cool, but also allows for a lot of breakdown.
It sure does. So first, what I have here in the dictionary, it was like such funny descriptions, like almost too simple. It's like friendship, the state of being friendly with someone. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, yeah, something else.
You're like, you literally like used the word in the definition.
Yes.
That's not helpful to anybody.
Yes.
So did you look up what friendly was?
Yes. So friendly is amicable, favorable, helpful. And then amicable is showing goodwill, which means love.
Yes. Because to clarify, love means to will the good.
Yes.
Of the other.
There was other parts with friend. It says someone who you know well, you're fond of, intimate, sympathizer, helpful, and reliable. But there was just so many other friendly words mixed in, and I was like, all right, cool. Anyways, and then I was looking up in the catechism too, and it was saying that God designed us to be his friend and live in harmony with his neighbor. And then harmony means peaceable or friendly relations with. And then there's other parts too, but just
Yeah, no, it
it's all
just
just
goes
like
to
so
show it's
interchangeable and
intertwined,
yes.
which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that that kind of gives points to, okay, what is a friend?
Yeah. How
And-
can you be a like sympathizer or
Oh,
all
a
those
friend
things?
is somebody you get along with.
Right.
A friend is somebody, yeah, like you enjoy their time. They're there for you. Those are generic things that I feel as though people would describe their friend as.
They got your back.
Yeah. And there's even the saying of, you find out who your friends are, right? You go through a hard time and it's like, oh, they weren't actually my friend. So there's also levels of friendship. And so tonight we just kind of want to dive into what and how do you get a true friend? And we would like to we know that we're blessed with true friendship in each other. I mean, that's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of answered prayer. But also there's obviously, just as if you would pray for like a spouse to make a relationship work, it's work.
Yeah.
So to have a friend, you have to be a friend. And so what does it take? We have some points that we would like to cover.
Being charitable, honesty, self-reflection, generosity, creative conversation, compassion, nakedness, and time, which can go from quantity turning into quality.
Yeah. So we're going to try to hit on all of these points of what that looks like in our life, but also just how to get there, because we haven't always had a true friend. And I know plenty of people who
I feel like they wish they had one, or they struggle to find one.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
So, what's first on your list? Let's go with that.
I have charitable, but I have a whole tangent of how friendship, like the friendship in charity type of a thing. So I was reading and listening to stuff on what St. Thomas Aquinas has to say on it. And it says that there's no...
On charity and friendship?
On charity and friendship. Friendship, yes. So he says that there is no friendship where there is no return of affection, which is kind of like, it's easy to love your friends. God asks us to love more than our friends.
Mm-hmm.
So Thomas Aquinas was trying to say that friendship is not charity. Where there's friendship and there is a return of affection, it's easy to love that person.
Right, because true charity...
You still have to love your enemies.
Well, and true charity is, loving those people, because it's easy to
love.
There's no challenge to loving people that are easy to love.
Exactly.
Yeah. I was going to say our own family, but sometimes that's where it's most challenging.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you have the 3 kinds of friendships. Mm-hmm. You have the pleasant, the useful, and the good. The pleasant and the useful, it is, you love that person, but it's for your own sake. You get pleasure out of the person. You can use them easily.
Yeah. So the examples would be, the useful friendship is the coworker, the classmate, the person that is helpful to you. And that's what you're bonding over. I'm using quotes.
Yeah.
And the pleasure is you're bonding over the things that are not in depth, right?
Yeah.
It's football. It's, I don't know, you like going to the bar together. You're going out together. You're on the same team.
Yeah.
For kids, it's like your soccer teammates, whatever. It's you're bonding over pleasure, which I would say is how most friendships start. It's rare that it's not that.
Yes.
To turn into the
good.
The good.
Which Thomas Aquinas says is only between the virtuous people.
Yes. And I read that about the virtuous people, and I found that very interesting, where it was like, okay, I wrote it down as like the true friendship. So the good friendship, the true friendship is the virtuous friendship, because you're calling each other to be better people, right? You're there, you're being there for each other. But it was interesting, which is one of our points that we're going to hit on, the creative conversation. It said friendship builds on close conversation.
Yeah.
But it's not, that means it's not just, which we can dive into this, but it's not just this like surface level, the weather, or it's not talking about the people either,
right?
The gossip. So anyway, sorry, continue.
No, you're fine. And then Jesus says, "You are not my servants, but my friends." And so that is where he kind of counteracted himself of saying that friendship is charity, like real friendship. And to practice that is to not only love the friend themselves, but to show love for all whom belong to him. So for a spouse, it's loving your in-laws. It's loving your nieces and nephews. It's, in friendship, it's loving your friend's husband, even though they might suck, or spouse, whoever. It's showing love towards that person for the sake of your friend.
Mm-hmm. Another point that was made by St. Thomas Aquinas, am I cutting you off?
No,
okay.
You're good. Go.
St. Thomas Aquinas made this point too, that in friendship, your wills are united. it's this idea that we're loving all people for God's sake, right? That's charity.
Yeah.
So to love your friend, you are not just loving them for your own sake. It's
Right.
not this, it's not just the pleasure. The
Right.
true friendship lies within willing their good, that love. So willing their good and our wills being united is wanting each other to get to heaven.
Yes.
So that's the true
Charity within the friendship, which I feel like that also plays out. So it's like when you're loving that friend, but loving those around your friend or whom belong to them, it's in the sense of, okay, ultimately we want everyone to get to heaven. So it's when I can love your spouse, almost like say you're married and you're struggling with your spouse. Well, I can show love for your spouse for you and helping you get through this issue.
Yeah.
It's kind of like drop your guard, pull out the humility, and this is where you need to help yourself in order to love your husband better, or to like fix this part, or whatever the case may be. So it's kind of like that love that goes out. It's like, I don't know, just the spider web of loving everyone for the sake of your friend.
Yeah. I mean, you could compare that to when you start dating someone. If you meet their family, you're trying to put your best foot forward and love their family for their sake, right? And then it's like all of a sudden, after they get married, it's like drama breaks out, or maybe it's like when they're engaged, drama breaks out, and it's
all of a sudden you can't stand your
yeah,
your almost spouse's family.
Or you can't stand your spouse's family, and it's a whole thing. But like you did that originally because you were like, I'm so in love with this person and I just want them to marry me. And so you put your best foot forward. And then all of a sudden it's like,
Right.
Conditional.
Yeah, exactly.
Where God is calling us, Jesus is calling us to continuously put forth that effort, put forth that charity, that love.
Yes.
To keep going.
Yes. So, back to my points, where Jesus says, "You are not my servant, but my friend." We are to love all who belong to him. So it's just kind of like not just loving who belong to your friend, but all to who belong to God. So it's like when you're in friendship with God, that's where you need to practice that perfect charity.
Yeah, no, that's true. Okay.
Okay.
So now that we've defined friendship, the levels of friendship,
Friendship with God.
Yeah, the things that the church and saints have said, let's break it down.
Okay.
So here's the question. How do I find a friend? I want a good friend. I want true friendship. That's something every person desires in their life. And for me, I mean, I shared this before, but I'll share it again. When I went to Italy, my intention was to find a friend because I knew that even if I got married and I have that best friend someday, marriage is hard. Like, that's your vocation. You vowed to be with that person for life. And the beauty of friendship is you are freely choosing this person without a vow, right? So obviously you need the vow. There's grace in that. And
you freely choose that person in the first place.
Yeah, you do. But it's like, okay, now you go through these trials and whatever. And it's interesting how people say, well, there's just, it feels like we're just friends in marriage.
Yeah,
like we're just
I've
friends.
heard spouses say that they were getting divorced because they felt more like friends and not lovers.
Yeah. No, and you want that as like a foundation.
You need the friendship with your spouse.
Yeah, because once you have kids and they're like, life gets really busy. I mean, I look at my sisters and their lives with their 6 kids. Like, I pretty much everybody has 6 kids in my family at this point, and they're running around like crazy. It's like, can you squeeze in the date night? Can you? And Jordan and I went to this talk on marriage, and he was even saying, if you could give 1% to your spouse in a day, it would change your marriage. And he was like, you know what 1% is? 15 minutes. That's like nothing.
Yeah.
And so it's just funny how people look at their marriage and they're like, we feel like more like friends or whatever. And they don't invest in that, but they're willing to invest in their friendships. But then yet people still feel lonely, like they don't have true friendship.
Yeah.
And so it's like, there's just like this huge mess of how do you get that? My first claim is going to say pray. Pray for the friend, because that's what I did. And I knew that even if I...
Look at what a friend you got.
I know. And even if I get married someday, I know that I have a friend who's going to be there for me through all the crap. Because that's life. There's so many people who desire this, who have cried to me about this. Even students, you start so young, just all you crave is to be loved, right? And we talked about that in the charity episode. We were created for love, by love, with love, and to feel anything other than loved is not what God intended for you. And so we're just constantly looking for this affirmation, and marriage is a vocation and friendship is not. And that's the beauty of friendship, is
It's
that
such a gift.
you didn't make a vow to this person, but yet you're showing up for them in a way that's like a beautiful, different type of love that you don't have in a marriage.
Yeah.
I think that was my point.
Yeah.
A long-winded
But-
point.
Also, when finding a spouse, you should start with the friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to not have that same level of friendship with your spouse, I would think it's detrimental to not be able to be that good of a friend with your spouse.
For sure.
Like, if you can't have the friendship that we talk about in this episode with a spouse either, it's
Something to reflect on.
definitely.
Just one of our points.
Yes. Self-reflection. Which, honestly, I think that's a good place to start with finding a friend is, are you that friend?
Yeah.
Self-reflect.
To have that kind of a friend, you have to be that friend. That's one of our things on our list of how do you get a good friend? How do you get a true friend?
And you don't have to be perfect at all of them, but just...
No. I mean, we're not.
No,
Good gosh.
we've helped each other a lot.
Yeah, we have. That was a lot. You could have been a little bit nicer about
Oh, sorry.
it. Sounds like you really dealt with a lot with me.
Or you dealt with a lot with me.
It was a joke. Because we know the truth. And it was me.
It was me.
No, don't confuse them. It was me. So, all right. Yeah. So we've hit on charity and self-reflection. Honestly, there's not a lot to say. I will plug again the Metanoia Catholic Journal. Get it? I'll link it in the show notes. It's super good at helping with self-reflection. It changed my confessions. It's just a step-by-step. So it's not like a Dear Jesus type of journal. It's super
reflective.
It's super intensive. So it's going to take you a good 45 minutes to do it. But it's totally worth it. And that's a huge way to start self-reflecting, because I feel like that's a skill that people have lost. Okay, what is it that you desire in a friend? Make a list. And then ask yourself if you are those things.
And then, if you don't know, ask your guardian angel to show you.
True. Make your guardian angel your best friend.
They help you a lot.
That's like step number 1 is like charity. Step number 2 is self-reflection. Step 2.1 is guardian angel help.
Yes.
And then ask yourself if you even are those things. Odds are you might be lacking in 1 or 2 areas. And not to say that you have to be perfect, like Jordan said, but
the effort needs to be there.
Yeah. So along with self-reflection is honesty.
Yes.
And this one's a hard one.
And what's important with honesty is being able to call your friends out, but like also hearing them when they call you out. That's how you help each other grow. That's willing the good, is to help that person grow and bring them to God.
Mm-hmm. So connecting to humility and honesty is also The thing that we said before was nakedness. And by nakedness, we mean being vulnerable. We heard this in a podcast. I think it was probably What God Is Not, but don't quote me on that. So now Jordan and I love to joke every time we have to actually talk about something deep. She's always like,
let's get naked.
yeah. It cracks me up every time. So this idea comes from the Bible story of Noah and his sons. When Noah got drunk and his sons came to cover up his nakedness. They came to hide the shame of him getting drunk from the people, right?
Yeah.
So it's this idea that we should be covering up our friends' nakedness. So when we get vulnerable and we open up to one another and we show the ugly parts of our hearts and our minds, it's receiving them with love.
Yeah.
It's humbling and sometimes humiliating to share certain things with somebody. And that's a massive amount of trust.
It is.
So to go with humility and honesty is to also be vulnerable, which you could say that that's really the category is vulnerability. Like you have to be able to be vulnerable with people to connect with people.
Another thought that I kind of had on that too was after Adam and Eve sinned, they saw that they were naked and hid. Mm-hmm. It's like when you feel ashamed of yourself, you want to hide. You want to like run away. You don't want people to see that. And within your self-reflection of like, am I that good friend? You need to get vulnerable with yourself even.
For sure. But I will say, even in that, are you the person that responds in that way where you don't make people feel ashamed? I would say Jordan's one of the first people I ever experienced where if I opened up or I was stupid and like screwed up in whatever way, the next day, the same day, she would just call me out on feeling ashamed when I shouldn't feel ashamed, or would kind of like laugh about it, and not in like a mean way, in a lighthearted way of just like, it's not a big deal. Like, let it go. Like, I don't care. In the best way, I don't care. I care, but in the best way, I don't care in the way that you think I care. And so get out of your head.
Yeah.
And stop feeling ashamed. Mm-hmm. Because in that sense, I don't care and I'm not judging you. And I had never experienced that before. And now it's like, I'm better at laughing at myself when I screw up because of experiencing that in a friend. And so to be a friend, it's okay, you need to be willing to be honest and call people out, but also call yourself out, hear them call you out, and also be able to see their nakedness and want to help them and cover them, but also not make them feel ashamed. Vulnerability is not just like open up to somebody. It's when you open up, how are you receiving them and how are they receiving you? And then some.
Yeah. And it definitely takes time to build that trust and that foundation to even have that kind of vulnerability, which I guess then we can go into the time of quantity turns into quality. It's like in order to have quality time, you need to start with quantity. I know people always say like, no, quality time, but it's like, but how do you even know what turns into quality if you don't put in time? You can't just sit down and force, hey, we're having this conversation, we're going to talk about this, and we're going to have a great time. No. The good conversation comes out of spending time with somebody.
Yeah, you can't expect to like get coffee with someone like once a month.
Once a year.
Yeah, or like...
And have the good catch-up quality, like, in-depth conversations.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's even like book clubs are a good concept to like meet people, but it's like, okay, how often is your book club meeting? Is it once a month? Because you miss 1 month, now all of a sudden it's 2 months, since you've seen them.
And then also it's like, okay, but then that's like a whole group, and it's, you might not want to get vulnerable with a whole group of people. It just doesn't allow for that quality time. Mm-hmm. You can try to have that. There's good foundations within having those book clubs and stuff like that, but it's, again, it's just too spaced out of time, too many people. It's like you need to put in that quality, like one-on-one time with people to even get vulnerable and build that kind of trust and friendship too.
For sure. With that, like, vulnerability and opening up to people, obviously you're not going to be like, tell me your deepest, darkest secrets right off the bat.
I don't know, I was.
That's true. Jordan did do that pretty close to right off the bat. That's actually very true. Okay, but most people aren't going to be like, tell me your deepest, darkest secrets. So the other option is usually gossip.
Yes.
Which is where we call it creative conversation.
The opposite of gossip.
Yeah, so we have, okay, let's reiterate. We have charity. We have vulnerability and self-reflection. And now we have creative conversation. This is how we decided to sum it up. Because so many people, women especially, bond over gossip. And sometimes, I would say, women don't even realize that they're doing it in the moment. But there's not like a true bonding going on when you're just like gossiping about whatever you're gossiping about. I mean, sometimes it's as superficial as, I don't know if this would classify as gossip, to be honest, but like you're talking about like celebrities. It's like, okay, there's so much more creative conversation you could be having.
Right.
And when we had talked about this, I said to Jordan, I think part of like the gift of our friendship and the foundation of where it came from was that we didn't have like a connection really prior, so there was no gossip allowed.
Like there wasn't room for it really.
Yeah, like we didn't have like a school community. Like a lot of moms, it's like you could talk about that person's kid or
That other mom.
yeah,
Whatever
stuff
it is.
like that, or in like a workspace. We know that we were blessed with this foundation of friendship where we didn't really have the option to gossip. But then it was like, so what did we talk about? Like, what was it that like
Yeah.
really got us to where we are? And one of the things was this question book that I have. So we had obviously the things to bond over in Italy. We're bonding over coffees. We're bonding over food because we're both foodies.
Whatever we're seeing.
Whatever. But like a huge part was on our flight back from Italy. We talked for the
8 hours
entire
straight?
flight. Like
9 hours
we're not
straight?
exaggerating. The entire
The
flight.
entire flight.
Yeah. I'll link it in the show notes, but I have this book called 3 Questions About Me.
3,000 questions about
What did
me.
I say?
3.
Three.
Not 3, guys. 3,000 questions about me.
My bad. Yeah. I have this book. It's 3 questions about me. All you need is 3 questions, guys.
That's it.
And
That's all you need to know.
Yeah. You'll have friends forever. Okay. 3,000 questions about me. It's from Target. I'll put a link in the show notes. But anyways, I broke this out on the trip a couple times, but we broke it out on the plane and we literally talked for 8 hours straight using this book. And that sounds ridiculous. But honestly, people love it.
It's just good conversation starters.
I bring it to parties and like little gatherings even and just break it out. And
Boat
people
days.
people at first are kind of like, oh, you have a book.
And you might feel awkward bringing out a book, but if you just tell somebody, hey, pick a number.
Yeah. And then you're like, number 1672. I have the book in my hands. And it's What Still Amazes You. And it's so simple and you're just like, what does still amaze me? But it creates so much good conversation and all of a sudden you're actually getting to know somebody and you are not talking about people or movies or celebrities or whatever. You're genuinely getting to know the person. Because sure, you can ask the person like, what kind of music do you like and what movies do you like? And that can bond you, but you're not actually getting to know their heart.
Yeah.
Like, what still amazes you? That's so much better than what's your favorite movie.
Yeah.
So it's definitely worth getting. I mean, there's still silly questions in there, and honestly, that question is probably in the book. But that's the point. It's some are deep, some are not. But it's just about having conversation that's not gossip.
Yeah.
Challenge yourself, or just don't bring the book, but come ready with some questions in your mind of like, I could ask this, and that would be good. And people aren't going to be like, that's a weird question to ask. People love intentional questions.
Seriously.
People love it. So it's definitely worth considering. So creative conversation and being intentional in your conversation. That's step number, what is that? 5.
5.
So 6 would be compassion. Compassion means to suffer with, which is a beautiful concept in general, because when you hear compassion, you're like, oh, I have compassion for you. I want you to be okay. Don't be sad. Let me fix your problems. But true compassion is to suffer with.
Yes.
And that's where you hear, I found out who my friends are, like really are, when they're going through something. Because true.
Find out who your friends are.
Sorry. No, you're good. No, it's true. So compassion, true compassion, you have to have that in a friendship. You have to be willing to suffer with a friend. So when that friend opens up in that vulnerability, compassion comes in, right? In your response. Be willing to suffer with. It's not just, let me make you stop crying. How do I fix it? Band-Aid over it. It's, I'm going to take this on with you, suffer with you, go through this with you, listen to the ins and the outs, the hurt, cry with you maybe, and help you through this. Truly, I'm taking on that. I am becoming Simon with Jesus, and I am picking up that cross with you, and I am going to walk with you in compassion, because yes, I want your good, and I want you to get to heaven, and I want this pain to just go away for you. But you have to be the Simon to the Jesus.
Yeah. And you have to be humble enough, like Jesus was, to let somebody help you carry that cross.
Are you Simon? And are you Jesus in that moment? Because you need both. You need to be willing to accept the help, but you also have to be Simon, who's like, I'm going to take this up with you.
Yep.
I mean, Jesus showed it. The Savior of the world said, help me carry my cross.
The creator of the world needed somebody to help him save the world.
Be Simon. Be compassionate. Simon is the example of compassion. Okay, I think that covers compassion. Okay, so now your last and final step to finding your long-lost true friend.
Ta-da!
Generosity. It means willing to give or share, or to be unselfish. And in a friendship, we are often...
Easy to be selfish.
Well, yes, I don't disagree with that. What I'm thinking of right now is that true generosity is lost. And so our friendships are transactional, which is why people, I think, don't have true friendship.
Yes.
Because it's, I buy you a coffee, you buy me a coffee. I buy you dinner, you buy me dinner. I have a flat tire, you come and help me, and now I'm in debt to you.
Yeah.
I babysit for you. You're in debt to me. And that's not true friendship, and that's not true generosity. Because to have true generosity, you would expect nothing in return.
Yeah.
And you should expect nothing in return. And that should be how friendship works. It's, I'm going through a really crappy time right now, and you're showing up for me, and you're catering to me, and you're giving to the friendship and I don't have the capacity to give, and it's like, well, in 2 years, maybe you're going through the really crappy time. And then it's my turn to give in that capacity, to be the generous person, because it's not transactional. True generosity is being there despite you, whether you get anything in return.
Right.
So it's, I bought you a coffee because I love you and I just wanted to make your day a little bit nicer. Do I expect you to buy me a coffee tomorrow? No. Let me buy you 100 coffees before you buy me one. Like, I don't care. It's like, in that moment, it's, thank you. Like, you got me a coffee. Like, that's fun. Like, it doesn't feel like, oh, you owe me. It feels like, oh, that's so nice of you.
Yeah.
You thought of me on your way here. Or it's like, you knew I had a long day and you brought me a coffee.
Yeah.
It's because otherwise it's not even generous from you, even if you meant for it to be. Because I'm like expecting you to return a favor.
Right.
When that's not the point.
Right.
I'm doing it because like I want to do it. And I wanted to just bring you a coffee because
I love you.
Because I love you and I just wanted to do that for you.
Yep.
So simple. The bigger level is, okay, you're actually going through a really hard time. Maybe you just lost a parent. You just had a miscarriage. I don't know. Your husband just lost his job, or you lost your job, or whatever the case is. And it's like, okay, let me show up for you.
Yeah.
Let me be that person for you. Let me be generous towards you because you deserve that, and that's a true friend. And so it's, let me make the meal for you. Let me help you move. Let me comfort you. Let me do that for you. And in those moments, people are like, yo, you owe me nothing. You owe me nothing.
Yeah.
Because big moments are so easy.
Yeah.
But friendship is based on little moments and not just the big moments. It's just like our sin. It's like everything is like little moment. So it's like we've talked about in our anger episode how if you ignore the little sins, they become big things, right? If you don't practice loving in little moments, you're not gonna be as good at loving in big moments. It's gonna feel like a lot to be generous in big moments.
Yeah.
It's like, no, love in little moments. Oh, you know your friend is tired and had a long day? Who cares? Bring him a coffee. Send him a coffee.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a deal. Like, you're like, I'm not spending $10 on a coffee. It's not about your $10. It's about loving that person in that moment. If you know that that's going to just like
make their day,
brighten the day, or it's making them dinner. Dinner can feel like a lot depending on the person. And it's like, I don't have time for that. Sure. Maybe that's like in the middle of comforting during a significant thing in life to the coffee or to like even a hug.
Yeah.
Like that's simple. And that's going out of your way because maybe you're not a hugger and you're like, I know this person appreciates hugs. Don't roll your eyes like that.
I didn't mean to.
Don't look at me like that. No,
hey,
but it's just
calling yourself out.
I know, but you're also a hugger, so
eyes.
it's okay.
You're right.
So I don't actually feel like guilty about it. I'm going on a tangent for like no good reason. The point is, true generosity is not transactional. And we make it transactional, especially in little moments. You shouldn't feel in debt to someone because they did something for you. And on top of that,
friend shouldn't make you feel like you're in debt to them because they got you that coffee or they made you a dinner.
Yeah, and in return with that, you need to be able to receive that.
Mm-hmm. Be the Jesus with Simon. Have the humility to let somebody help you carry that cross.
Truly. We're so good.
Even in the little moments.
Yeah, at giving and then maybe not receiving, which is still not true generosity because you're not willing to even receive anything back.
You're right.
Not in a transactional way, but it's like you're not even allowing somebody to be generous towards you, be charitable towards you. Right. If you just constantly are like, no, I don't need help. And that's a wall, and you should reflect on that.
Exactly. But, I mean, just same thing with like receiving generosity. It's like receiving a compliment. Like people struggle with receiving compliments, but it's just like the same way of receiving somebody's generosity. If you feel in debt at that point or uncomfortable, it's like you need to reflect in your own self.
So to sum it up, we hit on 7 points tonight. And those 7 points are
charity, vulnerability, self-reflection, creative conversation, time, compassion, and generosity.
So hopefully those points help you. And now we're going to transition over into our examination portion on friendship. So Jordan, would you like to?
Yes. Lead us in prayer. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Come, Holy Spirit, enlighten my mind, that I may see clearly all of my sins. Let me not be deceived by self-love, but show me the true state of my conscience. Okay, so if friendship means love and to will the good, have you and do you will their good? Are your friends good? Do you gossip to them or about them? Are you jealous or envious of your friends? Are you jealous of other people's friendships? Also, it's okay to desire a great friendship and be inspired by other people's relationships, but to clarify, are you mad if somebody else has that good friendship and you don't? Are you overly competitive with your friends? Are you always trying to one-up them? Are you always doing things or making purchases to keep up with them? Am I selfish in my time? Do I make conversations only about me? Am I intentional when listening to others? What stops me from being vulnerable? When people open up to me, how do I receive them, even your spouse? Do I deflect or reflect? Within this, do you find yourself saying no, or that's not the problem? Or do you find yourself making up excuses as to why it's okay to not practice these qualities that we talked about? Am I willing to be the Simon and suffer with others? Am I willing to be like Jesus and accept the help from others? Am I willing to give of my time? Am I willing to take the extra step it might take to show love and compassion? Am I willing to give without anything in return? What qualities am I looking for in a friend, and do I have those qualities?
Oh my God, I'm heartily sorry for having offended you, and I detest all my sins because of your just punishments, but most of all because they have offended you, my God, who are all good and deserving of all my love. I firmly resolve, with the help of thy grace, to confess my sins, to do penance, and to amend my life. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Hope you find a friend. Hope it's fruitful.
Yes.
Good luck. We'll pray for you.
Yes.
Bye. Till next time.
Thanks for listening to the Wannabe Saints podcast.
If you have a question or topic you would like us to cover, reach out to us at wannabesaintspodcast@gmail.com or on Instagram at wannabe_saints.
You can find the link in our show notes.
Thanks for listening, and God bless.